wrong. So minus infinity to 1.33 or minus infinity to 0.
Sir, then this time, first 30 minus 50 by 15 is minus 1.33.
Actually, I said 32. So 32 minus 50 will be 18, minus 18.
Oh,
Minus,
32.
yes.
কি যে প্রবলেমটা কি ছিল স্যার?
আবার ঘুমিয়ে পড়ছো?
না প্রবলেমটা তো স্যার এই 50 থেকে x 50 থেকে 70 এর মধ্যে ছিল না?
হ্যাঁ,
এবার তো
তারপরে আমরা আরেকটা প্রবলেম তো ডিসকাস করছিলাম যে minus 30 if I want to find the probability between minus 30 to 50, then how do we do it?
Minus then 30. It will be minus 1.2.
Minus 1.2, okay.
Minus 1.2, sir.
Minus 1.2. So basically then what is the probability? How do I find the probability?
0.38.
minus 0.8. Minus 0.8. No, minus infinity to minus 0.8 আর ওদিকে যাবে minus infinity to যেটা হবে plus 1.
So I think at least Nikki and Devdeep correctly told me that it will be between minus, yes.
Sir, Z score will be minus 1.2.
Minus 1. So minus 1.
Hello, sir.
Sir, someone has raised hand.
0.38. Huh? Sir, this is Oendri, sir.
This is
Oendri, sir.
Okay. So actually your name doesn't show, right? It is Galaxy.
No, actually, sir, I am also using it for the first time.
Okay,
so I'm
no
not
problem.
sure how it works.
No problem.
So, sir, is the answer 0.38?
Yes, so let me look at the answer now. So it is 1.2. Yes, 0.1151. You can take as 1.2 or like 0.12. So it is 0.5 minus 0.12. So 0.38. You are right. Now let's see. Someone tells you that it is between 32 to 70. Then what will you do?
Sir, you are telling 30 or 32?
32.
32.
So then can we add those two?
Yes. Yes. So that's what I wanted to tell you. So basically now you will add the probability. So because it is just area under this car. So you have calculated this side. Now if some part is at this side, that also you can find out. And it can also be possible that you are getting a value at this side only. So let's say from here you have got 32, okay, and another value may have been given which is maybe 45, okay. So this is also in this side of the car, right? So then maybe there is a point like this and you want to find the distance between these two, right? Are you getting me? So there can be different combinations, but if you use your logic and if you remember that it is symmetric, then you can get all the probabilities. Okay. All right. So let's proceed. So now let's look at expectation and variance of Yeah, so someone has a question. Yes. So you have to unmute. Okay, maybe by chance she would have asked that. Okay, so basically we are now going to discuss about couple of properties of a random variable. So one property is called as expectation and another property is called as variance. So basically when you have dealt with normal variables, you have looked at mean and standard deviation or maybe mean and variance. So same thing you are using for a probability distribution of a random variable and you give it a term like expectation and variance. Only thing is that that is a observed frequency distribution, so that has already occurred, so that's why you call it as mean. And here what you have is a probability distribution, so you do not have the actual values, so that's why you call it as expectation. Okay, so that's the difference. So expected value, how you will calculate? So for a discrete distribution, just sum the individual values with the corresponding probability and then take a overall sigma. So for each individual points, you multiply x with its probability and then you sum it up. And then when it comes to your continuous distribution, as usual, you take the product of x and fx, but instead of summation, you need to take an integration. Okay, and if you have your random variable with a mean mu, so which can be found out also by your expectation, then your variance is given as expectation of x minus mu square. Okay, so this we have defined only for continuous, but it turns out to have a value like e of x square minus e of x square. Okay, so e of x square means if you take a random variable x square, what is the expectation, and then you find out expectation of x, which is of course mu, and then using this formula that e of x square minus ex square, you can find the variance. Okay, so let us quickly look at an example and understand this better. So let's say you have a distribution. So this is a discrete distribution where the values are given from 1 to 10 and the corresponding probabilities are also given. Okay, 0.15, 0.1, 0.10, that way. So what we are going to do is we are going to find the mean of this random variable. So how do we do this? As we said, we'll just multiply this and sum over. So we'll multiply each of these points, 1 into 0.15, 2 into 0.10, that way. And finally, what you get is, so somehow this doesn't show completely. So if you calculate this, the expectation comes to be 6.56. Okay, so is it clear? Similarly, if you want to find a variance, so this was the formula that I was discussing, e of x square minus ex square. So actually ex square also, what you do is you just change or square the value of the random variable, and this random variable x square will also follow the same random distribution. So you calculate x square with px. Okay, so each of the points, instead of x, you get x square and you multiply with px. Okay, and then you sum it up like you have done for ex and you get the value 50.38. Okay, so finally variance you will calculate as 50 minus 38 minus 6.56 square, which comes to be 7.35. So this is how you can find the expectation and variance of a random variable. Let's proceed. Now we are going to discuss about normality test. Okay, so how we can, so as I said that this is very important, you understand whether your distribution comes from a normal distribution or not. Okay, so this is a very, very important important property or important thing that you want to find out. And the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to visualize in different manner. So a normal distribution will have a bell shape like this. So this is a histogram, if you remember. Do you remember this? So basically, you plot different values of your variable, different values that the variable assumes, and then you plot the corresponding frequency. So if your distribution is normal, then you will get a shape of histogram like this. Okay. So basically, this histogram is a range of values. So you call this as beams. Okay. So basically, this indicates value between maybe 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, this way. Okay. And this actually is proportional to your frequency. So of course, if you multiply this value, so if you find the area of all these rectangles, okay, so the area will sum up to 1, because area under a probability distribution curve is always 1. So now, as you have got this histogram, and if you take this transition point and draw a curve, and this looks like this smooth bell-shaped curve, then you know that it is a normal distribution. Okay. However, if you look at the diagram here, then you will see that the distribution is little bit different, isn't it? Right? So just by plotting, you can understand that this variable is not a normal distribution. Okay. So now let us look at some other tests. So this is another test called as box plot. And do you remember about box plot?
Yes.
Yes.
It basically provides the outliers, quartile, interquartile distance, and mean, and the outliers are on the both particular ends, and the middle portion is the median.
Yes, but most important point is that there is something called as a box. Okay. And so this box is basically, this
It's a
is
5-point
Q.
summary, sir. It's a 5-point
Yes, 5-point
summary.
summary. You are right. So this is your Q3 and this is your Q1. Okay. And see, median should have been in between this box. So if you have a value or you have the line towards the Q1, that means median is being pulled towards low end. Okay. So that means that you have more lower values than higher values. That's why the median is coming towards the Q1. Okay. And if you see that this line, okay, this line is smaller than this line. So this just indicates that you have extreme values. Okay, extreme values. So extreme high values basically. So there are not a lot of values. That's why the low values are pulling the median. However, this limit is much higher. So that means you have high values and they are quite extreme. Is this two interpretation clear to all of you? If it is not
No,
clear,
sir,
please raise your hand.
Yes, sir. Sir, I got one.
Okay. Okay.
So why it is called as a 5-point? What is the 5-point? Because here we are seeing the median, we are seeing the quartile, percentile, the outliers. So there is the 5-point thing.
This is Shantanu, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
স্যার এটা ক্লিয়ার হয়নি স্যার
হ্যাঁ সেটাই বলছি
স্যার বুঝতে পারিনি স্যার
অ্যাকচুয়ালি তোমার এই যে বক্স প্লটটা ড্র করা হয় so if anyone doesn't, if I switch to Bengali and anyone doesn't understand, please tell me. I think one girl doesn't understand, right?
Sir, I can't understand Bengali.
Who is this?
Sir, it's Nikki.
This is
Nikki Gupta. Sir, Nikki Gupta.
Who understand Bengali well? I know.
So even I can't understand. Sanya here, sir.
Yeah, Sania, I remember, right? Sanya, I remember. So yes. So I think I have not gone like Bengali in too many places. So if I am going, just raise hand because that is happening unintentionally. Yeah. Okay. So basically, what is happening is that there are, as Devodeep said, now Shantanu is asking that why it is called 5-point summary. Okay. So 3 points come from your median, Q3 and Q1, right? So 3 points you are getting. Rest 2 points are these 2 lines. Okay. So how these 2 lines are coming? So if you remember, we talked about IQR. So IQR is called as an interquartile range. Interquartile range means Q3 minus Q1. And then what you do is you find out Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. So you find IQR and then you calculate what will be Q3 plus 1.5 IQR. Okay. And similarly, you have got Q1. So you find out Q1 minus 1.5 IQR. Okay. So then what will happen is you will get all these points, and as you get all these points, you can make conclusions like, as I said, that median you will expect this to be in middle, but it is not in middle. So that means median is the middlemost value. So if it is lower in the box, that means you have more low values than high values. If you have more high values, then it will be up somewhere here. On the other hand, as this line is more than this line, so that means that only tells you that you have higher values, and these higher values are extreme. So the lower values are more, but the range is small. But higher values are less, but the range is high. Okay. But as you know that normal distribution is a symmetric distribution. And if you draw a box plot and if you get a shape like this, that means it is definitely not a normal distribution. Okay. But another thing is that, of course, you can have excess skewness, right? So you can look at this and you can understand that this is not symmetric, right? So this is tilted to the right side, isn't it? So you can plot and understand that this is not a normal distribution. Similarly, you can look at and see that there can be, so this is called as skewness. And if, so kurtosis is a measure that how much your distribution is at the center and how much of your observations at that are at the tails. Okay. For normal distribution, it is very perfectly balanced. Okay. So it can be so that, you have more values in the center. Okay. So the peak is higher. So then also it is not a normal distribution. And other side, you can have, more thick tails. Okay. Like in this case, you have more thick tail. So then also it is not a normal distribution. So like visualizing, you can through your box plot, through your histogram, through your kurtosis, through your skewness, you can get an idea whether this is a normal distribution or not. There are a couple of other things that we are going to discuss. One is called as QQ plot. So basically there are 2 plots which are very similar. One is called as a PP plot and another is called as a QQ plot. So Q stands for quantiles. Okay. So how many quantiles are there?
Quantile meaning?
So basically you have quartiles. Okay. You have decile and you have percentile. Okay. So quantiles actually you can plot maybe every 4%. Okay. So your quarter, so 4%, 8% that way. So basically what you are doing now is you are plotting if it has been a normal distribution. Okay. What should have been the quartiles? So that you plot at the y-axis, and whatever you are seeing, which is the observed, you are plotting at your x-axis. Okay. So whatever you expect your normal distribution to have, that you plot in your y-axis, and whatever is your you are observing, that you take in your x-axis. Okay. So now you are getting a point, right? So expected quartile, expected value of quartile 1, observed value of quartile 1. So you get points. And then once you plot it, this plot is called as QQ plot. And if your distribution is a normal distribution, then what will happen? You will get a perfect straight line. Okay. You'll get a perfect straight line. So it is not necessarily that your data has to be perfectly normal. Like in this case, if you see that it is very close to your normal distribution, if you look at this. So as I said, you have QQ plot, you also have PP plot. So in PP plot, what will happen is that instead of your quartiles, now you are dealing with probabilities. And what you are trying to find out is probability. You are trying to find out probability of, again, expected cumulative probability and observed cumulative probability. Cumulative probability, because you can understand that if you don't take cumulative probability, then how will you get a line, right? So you will not get a straight line. It has to increase. So you find the cumulative probability corresponding values, okay, and then you plot it in your PP plot, okay. So what is the cumulative distribution at 0.8? What is the cumulative distribution of, yes, there.
What is PP plot? Means how we can differentiate with the PP plot with the QQ plot? Means I cannot get it, the point.
So QQ is about exact values and PP is about probabilities.
Sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So that's how you calculate PP plot. And now we will look at, so these are all visualization techniques. So yes, someone else seems to, yes.
হ্যাঁ স্যার রঞ্জি বলছি স্যার, ওইটা একবার কি বলবেন? আমি বুঝতে পারলাম না, কোয়ান্টাইল যেটা বললেন না, কোয়ান্টাইলটা।
কোয়ার্টাইল,
হ্যাঁ কোয়ান্টাইলটা।
সো বেসিক্যালি দেখো আমি খুব সিম্পল করে বলছি, আমি আর ওটা ব্যাক করছি না। পিপি প্লট আর কিউকিউ প্লট দুটোই হচ্ছে visualization technique. Data norm, if you, these are both visualization techniques to understand whether the data is normal or not. So in QQ plot, you are plotting the actual values. So let's say, let's take a simple example. So you are finding out that you have normalized your distribution, standardized your distribution. Now you are finding that what is the value where 25% probability falls, just as an example. So from your distribution you may be getting a value of 5, okay, and from, or it will be between, so you have standardized, so maybe you have got a value of maybe 0.2 or maybe 2, and from your normal distribution you find that the probability less than 0.25 is 1.5. So you are getting a point, right? So this point you are plotting, okay. So if it is a perfectly normal distribution, you get a straight line. So for PP plot, for QQ plot, you are looking at the values, and for PP plot, you are looking at the cumulative probabilities. Okay. So now we will come to some tests where you will have to do some calculation. So these were all visualization techniques. So now these are quantitative techniques. So first test that we are going to look at is called as case test or Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. Okay. So this is used to test goodness of fit, and when the sample size is small, you can use it. And one good thing about your case test is that you can find this for any distribution. So it is not necessarily that you will have to find find the, like, it only compares with normal distribution. So if you have a observed frequency distribution, if someone asks you that can you tell me whether it comes from uniform distribution or not, so that also you can do using this. Okay, so the example that we see is actually comparing with uniform distribution. So first let's understand this quickly. Okay, so one is your so you have something called as a FOX. So what is FOX? FOX is your cumulative distribution of having a value of x equal to, or let's say x equal to 5, let's say. Okay, and actually you are having two values. One is your observed value and another is a theoretical value, like we were doing in PP and QQ, right? So basically you are finding out, so if you have maybe 5 points, for each of them you find out what is the observed cumulative distribution or observed cumulative probability, and then you also find out what would have been your probability if it followed the theoretical distribution. Okay, the distribution that you want to compare with. So for each data point you find out this difference, like FOX and FRX, and then you take the maximum of it. And then there is a case table, like you have normal distribution table. So using the case table, you can decide that whether this comes from that theoretical distribution or not. So let me repeat once more. So what we do is, you have different values of x for your distribution. So corresponding to that, you calculate your cumulative distribution. So everyone can calculate cumulative distribution, right? So that is your cumulative observed frequency distribution. Now you have a theoretical distribution. From that theoretical distribution, you calculate that what should have been the value if it followed that theoretical distribution.
So which one, sir? Binomial or Poisson or which
so
theoretical?
As I said, that case test is a very generic test. So you can take anyone as your theoretical distribution. So if you are using binomial, then this FR you are going to calculate assuming binomial. If you are assuming it to be uniform, then you will calculate using uniform. Okay. So for each point, I found out FOX and FRX, and then I take a maximum of that. So that gives me a value which I call as D. So now I take this value D in this case table, and then I go and find out that what that tells. So basically this D value, so all these tables actually tells you that whether you will accept that this comes from your theoretical distribution or not. Okay, so that's how it works, and basically it is a kind of hypothesis testing, so which we'll again see in our next chapter. Okay, so here we have shown certain values. Okay, so let's assume here that your theoretical distribution is a uniform distribution. And please look at these values. So this will be very clear to you. So this is number of students interested to join. Okay, number of students interested to join a particular course. And these are different courses that are there: BSc, BA, BCom, MA, and MCom. Okay. The observed frequency is 5, 9, 11, 16, and 19. Okay. So total number of students is n equal to 60. Okay. Now, if you assume a theoretical distribution, then there is no difference, theoretical distribution of uniform distribution. Then you assume that all streams, okay, all streams are equally probable. So as you have total 60 students, it follows a uniform distribution. That means that all stream 12 students will be there. Okay. So first you calculate your FOX, observed. So this is 5 by 60 because there are 60 observations. Now, if you take cumulative, yes, Devdeep.
Sir, in theoretical distribution, it means it should be distributed equally with the number of students.
Number of streams.
Number of streams means, suppose the number of students is 60 and there are
Yes.
5 streams, it should be distributed 60 divided by 5, like that.
Yes, if we are taking the theoretical distribution to be uniform distribution.
Okay, means if we are taking a theoretical distribution as an uniform, means it will be equal at every streams, right?
Yes, yes. So that's how uniform distribution works, right?
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
So essentially, one thing that you have to understand is that you are going to calculate two values. One is your observed and another is theoretical. Now, observed will be given to you, and theoretical will come from the distribution that you are going to compare. Are you getting it? Okay. So if you calculate this FOX, which is the observed frequency, so the last one should be 60 by 60, not 60 by 40. Okay. So basically, if you calculate this, then this comes to be 5 by 60. This comes to be 12 by 60, and the difference is 7 by 60. Similarly, you calculate for each one of them. So this comes to 14, this comes to 24, you get 10, you get 36, like this way. This should have been 0 by 60. Actually, there is again mistake over here, typing mistake, because both would have been 60 by 60 and 16 by 60. So it should have been 0. So what is the highest value? Any question? Yes, Devdeep.
No, sir, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Sir, I had a question. We taking the theoretical distribution and the observed distribution for the number of students who are interested in joining. Is this based on binomial distribution, normal distribution, or Poisson's distribution? What type of distribution we are using for the observed and for the theoretical?
So that's no. So for observed, you are trying to find, right? So observed, you are not using any frequency distribution. You are simply calculating what you are seeing. So you have seen BA to be 5, so you have put 5 by 60. BSc to be 5, you have taken BA to be 9, so you have plotted 14 by 60, like that. Okay, is it clear? Yes. Now, case test is a very generic test. As I said, that it allows you to compare a frequency distribution with a theoretical distribution. So you could have compared with a multinomial distribution. You could have compared with any discrete distribution. So here we have compared with a uniform distribution. So if you compare with a uniform distribution, then BSc, BA, BCom, MA, MCom, all these 5 values will be equally likely. And you have total value of 60, right? So that means that each of the values have, so each can come 60 by 5 times or 12 times. Just 1 minute, I'm getting a call. Just one. Hello. No, requirement. Thank you. Okay, so now you have understood how you are calculating these theoretical counts, and then you are just finding the probability, right? So these are counts. You are taking this to probability now. So it was 5 here. So the probability is 5 by 60. You have calculated the count to be 12. So the probability is 12 by 60, right? Now, in the next step, you are taking the cumulative distribution. So 5 plus 9 is 14. That's why you have taken 14 by 60 over here. Similarly, you have 12 plus 12, 24. So you are having 24 by 60 over here. Okay. So the next one, if you see, you have 11 added. So 5 plus 9 plus 11. So it is 25 by 60. And here you get 12 plus 12 plus 12. So 36 by 60. and then for each one of them, you calculate the difference. Okay, so 5 by 60 minus 12 by 60 is 7 by 60. 14 by 60 minus 24 by 60 is 10 by 60. 41 by 60, 48 by 60 is 7 by 60. That's it. I think Joita, if you can go on mute. And who is this QCOM BTD? Anyway, if you don't have a question, please be on mute. Otherwise, I am hearing echo of my this thing. Oh, I think yes, I can also mute you. Okay, so now what you can do is you can find the maximum of this. So in this case, it comes to be 11 by 60. As I said that there I have shown a calculation mistake. So this should be 0 by 60. And finally, you take the maximum. So this is how you calculate your D value, which comes to 0.183. I am not sure if I have kept. So basically, I should have kept the case table. Just remind me, next time I will put the case table. So you take this value of D, go to the case table, and then you can conclude that whether this value 11 by 60 is good enough or small enough to accept of this deviation you are going to accept or not. Okay, so this you can find from the case table. So you can look at this and understand that 11 by 60 is a reasonably big value. So this is not something it will accept. But there is a theoretical table from which you can see this. So we will just before we close, so these all things we were discussing apart from the normality test was to arrive at your hypothesis testing. Okay. So essentially, so any questions so far? Or let me do this way. I will probably take another 5 minutes. Okay. After that, maybe 10 minutes we'll discuss if you have any questions. Okay. So basically, this is your population, and you want to find out some characteristics of the population. So it is very expensive to do that. So that's why what you do is you take samples. Okay, and generally samples need to be random sample. So random sample means that a probability of each population member getting included in a sample is equal. Okay, and then there are two theorems which are important. So the first theorem says that, which is called as law of large numbers. So which just tells you that if you take a sample which is big enough, okay, then the sample's mean and the population mean will be close. Okay, so based on the sample, if you take a smaller size, it may be far from the population mean. And let me tell you, so essentially, let's take a simple problem. Let's say you are taking any quantity. Okay, that maybe how much time an average citizen sleeps. Okay, so you want to find out for that population. And actually what you are interested is that mean sleeping hours. Okay, average sleeping hours, that is what you want to find out. And what you do is you find for the sample. Okay, and from the sample you want to predict something about the or estimate something about the population. So that's the entire game. So law of large number says that if you have a sample of size 10 and if you have a sample of size 100, so the sample mean of 10 will have a tendency to be farther away from the population mean than the sample mean of the sample size 100. Okay, so that is the law of large number. Is it clear? Okay, now what we do is that you and there is another theorem called as yes Devdeep.
Sir, I can understand that. Can you please explain the law of large number again?
Surely, I'll do. Surely. So basically, let me go and take a step farther, or take a step backward, and let me tell you that. See, if you are, let's say, as I was talking about the sleeping hour problem, let's say, you have taken 100 people from somewhere, created a sample, and you have got a value of 7.5 hours. Okay. Now, the question of estimation and hypothesis is that, can you tell that the population sleeping hour is 7.5? So is this question clear to all of you? So that is what we are trying to tell, that if my sample is saying 7.5, can I say that the population has 7.5? So when you tell blindly that, okay, 7.5 hours is the estimate of your population average sleeping hour, then such an estimate is called as a point estimate. Okay, such an estimate is called as a point estimate. Now what you do is, you actually can take many samples, right? Instead of one sample, you can take many samples. And for each of the samples, what will happen is, for each of the samples, you calculate the sleeping hours. So for one sample, you get 6.5, another you get 8.5, another you get 7.5, right? So you get different samples. And that, if you plot that as a probability distribution, okay, this sample means value, you plot it as a probability distribution, you call that as sampling distribution. Okay, so is the idea of sampling distribution clear? So now law of large number says that if your sample size is 10, okay, and so you understood about the sampling distribution. Now what you are saying is, so instead of taking one sample and taking the mean, if you take mean of all these samples, mean of all these sample means, the mean of all these sample means, then it will be more close to your population mean. That will be a better estimate, right? Law of large number says, if these samples that you have drawn, if they are of size 10, okay, and if they are of size 100, where the sample size is 100, it will be more close to the population mean than when the sample size is 10. Devdip, now is it clear?
Yes, sir. Surely, sir. Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, fine. So now central limit theorem is also very related. Central limit theorem answers this question, that okay, you are talking that the samples will follow a probability distribution. Good. But which probability distribution? Because then only I can find out. So basically we are not only interested at finding out the sample, like mean of the sample means, but we want to actually want to draw a confidence interval. We want to tell that, okay, actually the sleeping hour falls between 6.5 hours to 8.5 hours with a probability of, someone is asking any question. So I didn't see the chats earlier, so I can see Devdeep has mentioned maybe around 45 minutes back that voice is not clear. I hope so after that you could hear. And then I can see Arindam is saying, explain the last para of large numbers. Okay. So I will just go back. Okay. So basically we were what we want to do is, we want to actually predict a range of value. Okay, rather than we want to do a single point estimate, we want to give a range. and such an estimate is called as an interval estimate. What it is called? It is called as an interval estimate. Okay. Now, to understand this interval, we need to understand the probability distribution, because you have seen, when we have seen normal distribution, that if I ask you that what is the probability that it falls between 30 hours to 70 hours, the battery hours problem, we use the probability distribution table, right? But we could use the probability distribution table only when you knew that that followed a normal distribution. Are you understanding? Right? We could only find the probability because it was given it is normal distribution. If someone didn't tell that what distribution it followed, we could not have found the answer. Same problem happens for sampling distribution. So again, one law actually comes to help us, which is called as central limit theorem. So it tells that if I take a large number of samples, not large samples, but large number of samples, and draw a sampling distribution, then it will approximately follow a normal distribution. So that is a superb law, because that will actually allow you to find the probability. Okay. All right. So Arindam, is law of large numbers clear?
Some doubts, sir.
Yeah. What is the doubt?
Because IID sample means.
So I didn't talk about IID. Don't worry about that. It means identically and independently distributed.
Okay, then let mu equal E of x1. I mean, x1 is one variable, right? And sigma square Vx1. Recall that the sample mean is defined as xn bar. Sir, here, what is the relation? I mean, sample mean are and the expectation value, these are defined later. I mean, E of xn bar equal mu, and V of xn bar equal sigma square n. Then what is the relation between these two terms? I mean, set of terms.
Okay. So did you understand the concept?
Yes, concept is clear, sir. If we increase the sample size, then the sample mean is close to population mean. That's the
yes.
That's
so now that part is clear, right?
But
so
these
mathematical essentially tells you. Just hold on. So when you are looking at a distribution, how you actually represent the distribution? You represent the distribution by its mean and variation or standard deviation, isn't it? So what it tells is that when you take different you take different samples, and then your x bar n actually means the sample of one of the, or maybe the nth sample, and basically expectation of x bar n. So the mean of the sample means, which I explained, should give you population mean. Okay. And what this is telling is the variation. And variation actually points you to a very interesting property. So you see, this is to be sigma square by n. What is n? N is the sample size. So it tells you that if n is small, then the variability of your sampling distribution will be more. And if your n is large, then your variability will be less. So that's what essentially we discussed, right? You got that, Arindam?
Sir, what I understood actually, first of all, we take any one of the constituent members of a sample. Let's say x1, and we call it E of x1 equal mu and sigma square V of x1.
No, not at all. See,
then we define the sample mean.
One second. Sigma and mu are about the population. This has nothing to do with samples. So
then why x1? Then why x1?
X1 is for the sample.
Then EX1 equal mu.
Yes. So you are saying that the expected value of the sample means will give you population mean.
Okay. Okay, sir. And recall that the sample mean is defined and okay, sir. Right now it is clear, sir.
Okay. And another
Okay, sir.
person raised hand.
Yes, sir. I could not understand the central limit theorem.
Yes, sir. Me too, sir.
Okay. Okay. Let me give it a try again. So basically, if you remember your battery problem, okay, so let's say you are given that the value is between 30 hours to 70 hours, right? So to calculate that, you needed to be told that the battery hour distribution follows a normal distribution. Is these two statements clear? Now for the sampling mean, okay, so I said that there are two types. One is called as point estimate, another is called as interval estimate, right? So when you are trying to find this interval estimate, right? So you need to know the probability distribution. Otherwise, how will you tell that this sleeping hours or this battery hours falls between X1 and X2?
Exactly.
Did you get that now? Did you get that now? Is it clear?
মানে স্যার আপনি বলছেন স্যার
না আমি অরিন্দম তোমায় জিজ্ঞেস করছি না
হ্যাঁ স্যার
The question was raised by what is your name? Jayati.
No, sir. I'm Oindri.
Oindri. Okay. So Oindri, is it clear to you?
হ্যাঁ মানে আমি যেটা বুঝলাম স্যার যে বাংলায় বলছি যে আমাকে যদি একটা রেঞ্জ ফাইন্ড আউট করতে হয় তো আই উইল নিড আ ডিস্ট্রিবিউশন ইন দিস কেস একটা নরমাল ডিস্ট্রিবিউশন সো দ্যাট আমি সেই ভ্যালুটা বের করতে পারবো
আমি রেঞ্জ আমি শুধু হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ সেটা একটা ব্যাপার অবশ্যই মানে it has a like integral relation. So for the range you need the probability distribution. And to get the probability corresponding to the range, you also need to know the probability distribution. মানে আমি বলতে চাইছি that if it is given that it is a uniform distribution, then you know that maybe sleeping hours between maybe 4 hours to 14 hours, every hour has a equal probability. Okay. And that way you will get a different value if you specify a range between 6.5 to 8.5. Okay. But if you tell that it is a normal distribution, then what will happen is the probability of 4 hours will be much less than the probability that is in the center, maybe 7-8 hours. So that's why to find out that whether or to put it in that way, that if you want to put between maybe you want to find between maybe 6 to 10 hours, then if it is a uniform distribution, you will have a different value. If it is a normal distribution, you will have a different value. বুঝা গেল ইন্দ্রি?
ঠিক আছে হ্যাঁ 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 স্যার
হ্যাঁ তো সেই জন্য that is the reason you need to actually know the probability distribution. And central limit theorem tells that if you take a lot of samples, the sampling distribution will follow a normal distribution. So that's how you can associate this probability. Okay. All right. So basically, so this is what I should have maybe discussed earlier. So this is what we were talking about, the point estimation. So point estimation is nothing but that you take the samples and then you calculate the different. So you are trying to talk about the parameter theta, and what you are doing is for each of the samples you are finding that out, and you are using some function on that. So in this case the function is taking a mean, which you are showing by E theta. Okay. And there is a term defined as bias of theta, bias of an estimator, which says that if you find out the estimate like what we discussed, right? Point estimate. You take different sample means, then you take a mean of those sample means, and then you compare it with the population mean. So if there is a difference between the population mean and the sample, what you calculate through your mean of sample means, that you call as your bias. Okay, and so, and you also use these terms that your sample mean is an estimator of your population mean. Okay, so these population terms you call them as parameters. Okay, and this sample terms you call them as statistic. You call them as statistic. So your sample mean is a statistic, your population mean is a parameter. You use this statistic as a point estimator for your population mean, or which is your parameter. So these are the different terminologies. And if so this is called as an estimator if the expected value of your estimator or the mean of your estimator is same as the population mean or as the parameter, then you call it as an unbiased estimator. And if there is a difference, then you call that as a bias. Okay, so now we discussed that so a point estimator is consistent if as you increase the number of samples, it converges towards the population parameter. And as we already discussed, that distribution of this sample is the sampling distribution, and the standard deviation of this sampling distribution is called as standard error. Okay, so which actually, if you see, is calculated using the variance only, variance of these estimated values. And then we come to hypothesis testing. So essentially what we'll do is we will observe certain things about the sample, and then we will try to conclude whether it holds for the population or not. So this will constitute a hypothesis. So there are two hypotheses that we talk about. One is called as null hypothesis and another is called as an alternative hypothesis. So always your null hypothesis is like there is no difference. Okay, so means your null hypothesis is that your sample mean is equal to your population mean. And then your alternative hypothesis will be that it will not be equal. And then there are two variations called as two-tailed test and one-tailed test. Okay, when you do a hypothesis test. So maybe that we will discuss in more detail in our next class. I think, yeah, so I think that brings us to the close of what I wanted to cover. And if you have any questions, now I will unmute all of you. So maybe we can spend 5 minutes and discuss that. Yes, Devdeep.
স্যার আমার কাছে কোশ্চেনটা হচ্ছে আমরা যে এটা যে করছি এটা আমাদের কোন চ্যাপ্টারটা স্যার কভার হচ্ছে? আর আরেকটা কোশ্চেন স্যার, সেটা আমাদের স্যার একটু মানে মেটেরিয়ালটা পাঠাতে হবে, কারণ কি স্যার
আজকে তো শেষ হয়ে গেল, আমি মাঝখানে নয় পাঠাচ্ছিলাম না, আজকে আমি পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি কারণ আমাদের এইটা শেষ হলো। বেসিক্যালি what we did is we have set the context to our second chapter now. So first chapter is covered and we have now set the context of second chapter. So now we can cover the second chapter also very easily.
আমাদের তার মানে কোন চ্যাপ্টারটা হচ্ছে মানে
আচ্ছা আমি যেটা বলছি
বিজনেস রিসার্চ ওইটা কি?
হ্যালো
হ্যাঁ
স্যার আমি সুকান্ত বলছিলাম।
হ্যাঁ বল।
হ্যাঁ স্যার আমি বলছিলাম যে এই ক্যালকুলেশন করে কি আমাদের অঙ্কগুলো শিখতে হবে কি, মানে না স্পেসিফিক আমরা রেজাল্ট গুলো পেয়ে যাবো? ক্যালকুলেশনটা এক্সাম পারপাসের জন্য করতে হবে আমাদের?
হ্যাঁ, তোমাদের হাইপোথিসিস টেস্টিং তো করতেই হবে, প্রবলেম তো করতেই হবে।
না, হাইপোথিসিস টেস্টিং তো রিসার্চ মেথডোলজি মানে সাবজেক্টে আছে অলরেডি।
মানে আমি যে চ্যাপ্টার গুলো পড়াবো তাতে তোমার টি টেস্ট, অ্যানোভা এবং কাই স্কয়ার রয়েছে।
ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, তাহলে টি টেস্ট, কাই স্কয়ার আর অ্যানোভা।
স্যার,
টি টেস্ট।
হ্যালো স্যার।
হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার বলছি যে ওই পয়েন্ট এস্টিমেশন বলবেন? ওই পয়েন্ট এস্টিমেশনটা
হ্যাঁ কি
আরেকবার একটু বোঝাবেন?
দেখো পয়েন্ট এস্টিমেট মানে বলা হলো যে একটা পয়েন্ট রিটার্ন, মানে এস্টিমেশনটা একটাই ভ্যালু, সেটাকে বলে পয়েন্ট এস্টিমেট। আর তুমি যদি একটা রেঞ্জ অফ ভ্যালুস দাও দেন ইউ কল ইট অ্যাজ এ ইন্টারভাল এস্টিমেট।
আচ্ছা স্যার, ওই আনবায়াসনেস, ওই বায়াসনেস, স্যার স্লাইড
To go through the PPT once, and I will give you the PPT right away. So go through the PPT once. I think it will be clear. If it is not clear, we can again discuss.
স্যার স্যার এই পয়েন্টটা কোথায় মেল করব? মানে কি, মানে আমাদের গ্রুপ মেইলে স্যার?
Yes. So you, one of you, please send me your group mail. I will send you right.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, আমি দেবদীপ বলছি স্যার। আমি গ্রুপ মেলটা দিয়ে দেবো আপনাকে স্যার। আপনি একটু প্লিজ একটু মেলটা করে দেবেন, অন্তত পিডিএফ যদি হয় বা ওয়ার্ড ফাইল যদি হয় খুব ভালো হয়, কারণ কি এখানে অনেকেই স্যার আসতে পারেনি। ফর এক্সাম্পল অরুণিমা দি আসতে পারেনি, বৈশাখী দি আসতে পারেনি, ওদের মানে নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যুস হচ্ছে ওই এরিয়ায়। আমাদের এখানেও অনেক নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যু হচ্ছে স্যার, তাই
হ্যালো
করা যাচ্ছে না।
হ্যালো
Hello.
হ্যালো
Yes, we can hear you.
স্যার হ্যালো
হ্যাঁ বলো। হ্যাঁ পূজা বলো।
স্যার বলছি কি আপনার মেল আইডিটা স্যার পাওয়া যাবে? কোনো কোয়েরি থাকলে স্যার আপনার ইয়েতে মেলে সেন্ড করা যদি যেতে পারে।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, কেন পাওয়া যাবে না? আমি তো তোমাদের গ্রুপে মেল করলেই আমার মেল আইডি পেয়ে যাচ্ছ, কিন্তু মেল ইউজ করতেই হবে।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
এক্সকিউজ মি স্যার, হ্যালো হ্যালো
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ বলো 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 ইন্দ্র।
হ্যালো স্যার, হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ ঐন্দ্রি শুনতে পাচ্ছি, তুমি বলো।
স্যার আমি ওয়েন্দ্রি নয়, আমি বৈশাখী বলছিলাম স্যার। যদি একটু ফার্স্টের দিকে, আমি 10 মিনিটস মতন আমার লেট হয়েছে, আমি নেটওয়ার্ক পাচ্ছিলাম না, আমি কানেক্ট করতে পারছিলাম না। তো আপনি যদি একটু ফার্স্টের দিকে কি হয়েছে সেটা একটু যদি স্লাইডগুলো দেখান ভালো হয় স্যার।
তুমি স্লাইড গুলো তো I will just mail all of you, so you go through them. If there is a question then we'll you ask me.
ওকে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
So anything else?
হ্যাঁ স্যার,
হ্যাঁ বলো।
হ্যাঁ বলছি স্যার, ওই কারণ কি অনেকেই ওই বলছিলাম যে নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যুর জন্য অনেকেই কিন্তু জয়েন করতে পারছে না স্যার। মানে সেই জন্য যদি মানে পিডিএফ ফাইলে হলে সুবিধা হয়, কারণ কি অনেকে জুম ক্লাস করতে পারছে না।
আমি পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি, আমি তো বললাম, তুমি জাস্ট আমাকে
ওকে স্যার, আমি মেল আইডিটা স্যার পাঠিয়ে দিচ্ছি আপনাকে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে।
হ্যালো স্যার, হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ
ঠিক আছে।
হ্যালো স্যার, হ্যালো।
হ্যাঁ বলো
স্যার। হ্যাঁ যেটা বলছেন যে স্যার টি টেস্ট আপনি বলেন কাই স্কয়ার আর অ্যানোভা, আর নরমাল ডিস্ট্রিবিউশনটা কি করতে হবে তো কি?
হ্যাঁ নরমালিটি টেস্ট তো আমরা আজকে একটা ডিসকাস করলাম যে কেএস টেস্ট দিয়ে করা যায়, তো কেএস টেস্ট থেকে প্রবলেম
হ্যাঁ না ও ঠিক আছে, ওখান থেকে প্রবলেম তাহলে ঠিক আছে। নরমাল ডিস্ট্রিবিউশন আর বাইনোমিয়াল পয়জন ওগুলো তো দেখছি না আমরা, নরমাল বা যেগুলো আমরা এমকমে করে এসেছি।
দেখো ব্যাপারটা হচ্ছে ফার্স্ট চ্যাপ্টারটা আমার এক্স্যাক্টলি আউটলাইনটা মনে নেই, আমার যেটা মনে আছে যে ইট ওয়াজ ভিজুয়ালাইজেশন and test of normality.
ভিজুয়ালাইজেশন।
So in visualization
ঠিক
there
আছে।
can be question on box plot and histogram and all that.
ও
ঠিক আছে,
ঠিক আছে। ভিজুয়ালাইজেশন আরেকটা কি বলেন স্যার?
and normality test. তোমরা
Normality test.
মানে whatever, see don't worry about this now. Yeah. So
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
once we go through this, please focus on developing your concepts. Okay. So once this is done,
Sure,
we'll discuss that how the question pattern should be.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So can we close then today?
Yes sir, thank you sir.
Yes
Thank
sir.
you sir.
Yes.
Yes sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye guys.
Bye, sir.